good morning and thanks for watching. Hope you guys enjoy the video. If you do, remember to like, comment, or subscribe if you feel like it. And if you really feel like it, for a limited time we do have merch. I think it's running for the next week and a half. So I'll link that down below. We're kind of just doing a trial run, see how it goes, and we'll kind of go from there. So we've got a website down below for you guys to order stuff if you want, but it is a limited time only. So, that said, hope you enjoy the video. I'm going to clean my office. You can see the gravel flowing today. We're right on the Ohio. So we'll get scaled in here. The river's a lot higher than it was last time I was here. May even get to see a barge today, I don't know. I can see the top of a barge down there, but can't really see the rest of it. We'll get weighed in here and up to dump 3 to beans we go. I figure since we're stopped here, I'll just kind of show you guys where all the grain goes. Straight to the river. It goes from those bins down that conveyor belt and onto the Ohio, down to the Mississippi, to the Gulf, to God only knows where. So it's pretty neat to think that the grain you haul down here ends up all over the world. So kind of neat to think about. I've always thought it would be neat if you could put some kind of tracker in the grain just so you could know exactly where it went. I mean, is this a load of soybeans? Is it going to South America? Is it going to China? Is it, you know, gonna stay here in the US? It's kind of interesting. It'd be neat to see kind of where the grain ends up. I was trying to figure out what happened right here since there's feathers everywhere. Then I got to thinking about it. I had the combine parked there and fired it up when I was switching to beans. I must have had a bird inside. I don't think that one was okay. I'll say he was a little unfortunate. Alright, well, we're back with the semi. Back in the combine, and got the first hopper dumped. Just made a pass around the outside of this field, so we're gonna keep getting her opened up and hopefully knock this field out today. I don't know that we're gonna have the trucks to get moved after today, so worst comes to worst, we'll just fill everything up and call it a day. Well, we're scooting right along, just shy of 5 miles an hour. They're all right beans in here. They're kind of in the mid-50s, mid to low 50s, so really not putting too much of a load on the combine at all. But can cover quite a few acres right now, so, and honestly it doesn't really matter what they make to me because they're not my beans. So hope they make good for the guy. Pretty good friend of mine, so you know, I want to see them do good, but not near as concerned about the yield as I am when they're your own. My own, I guess. But anyhow, I've got another hopper, so I'm going to head to the truck and go down. Getting everything full. By full, I mean really full, as you can see. Don't take long in beans. Not when you're running 5 miles an hour, 30 foot wide. You can scoot across some ground. We got about 50 acres cut so far. So. The other semi just drove by. I think he went down the road to get turned around, so we'll get the carts dumped on him, and say both of us will head out of here with the semis here shortly. So the second semi showed up. Our semi's full, and they're down there dumping both carts on him right now, so I'm cutting another hopper to maybe top them off, or if not, I'll dump it on a cart. But I think a buddy of mine, he's going to take the combine over. He's got to kind of stick close to home today, so he's going to run this, which he used to work on a harvest crew out west, so I trust him with the combine. And I'm going to take our semi, and we're going to just kind of convoy down with both semis. That way both of them are empty, and everything should be empty. And he can fill both carts while we're gone. And that should give us enough room to cut the majority of the day and get these beans knocked out. We started with 90 acres. We got about 40 left now, so not too bad. But we do have 2 more fields after this. We'll have to move twice, so not too big of a deal. Scooting right along. Well, I'm full, and the semi behind me's full. We both got nice rounded full loads on us, so I guess we're convoying down to ADM if I don't grind all the gears off this first. You guys missed it. That was one sharp looking Peterbilt. But we're back down here at the elevator and tarped and in line. Well, we're dumped, and I don't know whose it is, but I'm impressed. 2 gravity wagons stuck on a truck. That's pretty neat. And I bet that guy has one of the most affordable grain hauling rigs here. Wait for it. Wait for it. Come on, print a ticket. Alrighty. 12%. We'll take it. Add it to the collection in there. Headed home. Well, we're filling that semi. The cart's full and I'm back and empty. And he's done with this field, so sounds like we're getting ready to move again tonight. Gotta say, it's my first time dumping on a Wilson. I'm used to those Tempties. We're about to find out if the second cart will fit on that truck or not. It's already 3/4 of the way full, so we'll find out. Getting her done. There's a lot of action going on right now. We're gonna get the head dropped off of this and get her moving. Well, we're moving. Got the head cart following behind me. 2 more fields, or three more fields. Then I think we're done. Unless somebody else calls me wanting help. Hell, I may as well. I already got the thing dirty again. Oh well. Alright. She's hooked and we're ready to roll in this little section of field here. Beautiful evening for it. Oh, we got the field opened up and we're dumping. Pretty decent beans. We'll get her whipped. Well, I really didn't record any of it, but we just wrapped this field up. So we're down to 2 more after this. And they are side by side in little bitty patches, so after this, I think we'll blow the combine off again and be done with it. Probably. Maybe. Hopefully. Well, we're unhooked. Ready to take them home tonight. Well, I ate supper. And everything's here. Combine, bean head, semi, and I guess cart's not, but I ate supper and it's only 8 o'clock, so figure it's time to find something else to do. And I think I've got just the thing. It's time to play with the ripper again. It's a reoccurring theme. Run the combine during the day, cut beans, rip ground at night. Fire this girl up. Get her going. Whoops. She's ready. Even got fuel in it. Well, here's the thing about poor man's auto steer. I started on this end of the field to set my AB line. Now my AB line was that I wanted to work the field at this angle But if I started on that end of the field, I didn't have anything to sight off of. But if I start on this end of the field, I can sight off that pole and that sign that the lights are reflecting off of. So take my hood ornament, straight line, that's what I follow. That's a poor man's auto steer. And you can't tell, but when I turn around, I feel like I'm driving fairly straight. But when I turn around, I've got better front lights than I do back, and we'll find out if I'm driving straight or not. But yeah, that's me setting a poor man's AB line. There, you see that? Perfectly straight rows. Works every time and didn't cost me thousands of dollars. Now that's not to say that I don't wish that I did have actual auto steer in here. I do, but this works too. This field is also flat as a pancake. That's why I'm ripping it, and it's going in corn next year. So right here, I don't really feel like I'm doing much good. I'm not really pulling the tractor hard or bringing up any big clumps. So I don't know if there is a whole lot of compaction here, but definitely hitting it in spots. There, I kind of felt it there. But yeah, I don't know. We may be doing more harm than good. We may be doing more good than harm, but we'll find out next fall when the yield monitor tells me whether I'm doing good or not. But my auto steer to, we're pulling it hard. It's really spinning now. But my auto steer to follow after my AB line as I sight that tire exactly off of where that furrow's at, or trench, or whatever you want to call it. And basically that's what I guide everything off of. So as long as my first pass is completely straight, then the rest of them are fairly straight too if I follow along half decent. But I don't know if you can tell or not, but that's fairly straight rows. Okay, so I think we're gonna call it a night in this field at least. That field gets really, really hilly down through there. Hard to tell, but it gets really hilly. So I'm going to stop up here on the very, very top where it's still flat up here, but it's starting to gradually drop off. I'm trying to rip with basically the mentality of, okay, if we get a 6-inch downpour tonight, is what I'm ripping gonna wash away, or is it gonna stay put because it's flat enough ground to stay put? So if I'd get a 6-inch downpour tonight, what I've ripped so far really isn't gonna go anywhere. Whereas if I start, getting on these slopes and these hillsides, all of a sudden you're gonna have a lot of dirt start getting carried away by the water. So don't want that. So I'm gonna call it good. I'm gonna rip the end rows down here along the edge of the field, but other than that, I think we're gonna call it a night. Well, after jamming hardcore to some Motley Crue and Cherry Pie and all that fun stuff on the way here, we're hooked up, we're latched up, and ready to cut the last, I don't even know how many acres of beans. We're not even sure if it's double digits, but we are sure that it took longer to drive here than it will to cut these beans, so we're gonna get him done. Well, this massive field right here was the last one, and we're done. So it's time to drop the head off of this thing and call it a year. Let's get out of here. Good morning. We're out here ripping today. I'm gonna rip the top side of this field at a fairly heavy angle. It's pretty flat, but it does have some hills that we're gonna stay off of. It's a 90-acre, or actually it's a 99-acre field, but I'd say we're only gonna rip about 40 or 50 maybe. So just gonna hit the flat stuff. Definitely pulling up some chunks. This ground, actually all the ground that I'm ripping this year has never been ripped, just because we've never had a ripper up until now. So I'm gonna try and shoot for some 250 bushel corn out here next year, right west of the farm. Look at those beautifully straight rows, just freehanding it. perfect. And I've got to make it look good because it's right on the highway and everybody sees it. So that's the main reason I'm worried about driving straight. Plugging away at it though. Got the window open because it feels so good outside this morning. Listening to the thing purr. Sounds really good. I'm not really sure what caused it, but I was in the field and started smelling diesel fuel and seeing smoke. And this thing is caked in diesel fuel. Pretty sure that filter came loose and it's leaking out the filter. At least I hope that's what it is. But the tractor is absolutely soaked. And I'm not sure. It's not soaked on this side, so it may be that fuel filter. I'm hoping it's that fuel filter. But when I smelt diesel fuel and something that was hot, I got her shut down real quick. In fact, I bounced across what I just ripped and brought it back over here. I was really wishing I had a fire extinguisher on the tractor, but I didn't. Pretty sure it's those filters leaking. It's one of the two of them. I figured out what it was. There's a little crack in that line somewhere, and it's just pissing fuel out all over the place. So I need to get a new line, which doesn't look too bad. It just goes from the fuel pump here up, over, and to right there. So good times. Guess I won't be ripping anymore today. It's a busy place around here right now. We're getting into a big time spreading operation. The Polaris with the spreader, and this is the tender here. Getting some cover cropping done. So you guys saw me ripping this morning, doing the devil's work. Now we're gonna make up for it and go do some cover crops. It's kind of the best of both worlds. I do a little bit of each, so that's what we're headed to do. Okay, we've got all our hydraulic hoses unhooked and our scale is unhooked. So now we're ready to unhook this cart, I think. There's a whole lot of red sitting out right now. Beanhead, Combine, Magnum, Steiger. And we're getting ready to bring some more red home. I've got a little bit of a treat for you guys. I bought another piece of equipment, and as soon as we get the cart unhooked, we're gonna go hook onto that and bring it home. Now it is a fairly good sized piece of equipment just because it's got to go on the Steiger to be able to pull it. The Magnum would handle it too, but this is the tractor we've got free with a fuel line that works right now, so it's going to go on this one. Well, we're back to having a naked tractor. So, surprise, surprise to you guys, getting something new. What could it be? Just keep in mind, I'd like a 16-row corn planter with liquid, a bigger grain cart. I would like a bulk fill bean planter, a vertical tillage tool, a second semi. What could it be? Also like a sprayer, like a self-propelled one, and a fertilizer truck, and a manure spreader to spread litter with, and a dump trailer to haul it with, and a front end loader to load it with. So, what are we going to pick up? That's my wish list. And grain bins. And flat black, quarter sections of ground. Tiled under a center pivot irrigation system. That's what I'd like, but that's it. All right, folks. Well, since I've been running it for about 4 hours now, I brought it home, made a couple adjustments on it, just on kind of how the pitch of it is setting. But that's what I bought. It is a vertical tillage tool. I bought a McFarlane reel disc off a neighbor. It's in about average condition. It's definitely not in bad shape, but it's been ran across a few acres, so it's got a little bit of wear on it, but not too bad. But what I've ran so far, I love that thing. I'm running 7 to 9 mile an hour, 25 foot wide, and I'm doing between 20 and 25 acres an hour with it right now. So I'm absolutely scooting through corn stalks. My goal with this thing is to run down all the corn stalks, chop them up, and lightly work them in so they can decompose over the winter, level up the field a little bit, and next spring I will no-till soybeans. Well, not really no-till because I'm running this, but I will plant soybeans straight into just fallow ground in the spring. So far that thing is doing a phenomenal job, exactly what I wanted it to do. So I'll fire up the tractor so I got some better light, and I'll do a little walk around on it. So here's what we got. Got her greased up and checked the tires. None of the bearings were out. It's sat for a couple of years. I don't think they've used it in a little while. But the blades are wore down a couple inches, but it's still doing what I need it to do, which is basically just chopping through some stalks. I'll get a season or two out of them and then probably replace those blades. So basically you've got straight disc blades. You can't tell, but there's 2 bolts here and these holes here. You can move these forward to be more aggressive, but I'm not doing that right now because I'm not really wanting to move a lot of dirt right now. That's not really what I'm trying to do. I'm basically just trying to size residue and mix it in lightly. So I'm not really out here to move a lot of dirt. Next, it's got these, this is the reel part, which is kind of like the old lawnmowers, the old style push lawnmowers. But these just kind of roll really fast and chop up the stalks and kind of fling a little dirt in. And then it's got a 3-bar harrow on it. And after that 3-bar harrow, it's got a rolling basket. So that harrow and the rolling basket just kind of firm things up and level them out. So yeah, that's really all there is to it. It is built very, very heavy, it looks like. The frame is very, very stout, so I like that. It's got plenty of weight to keep it in the ground. We did a little bit of adjusting. See right here, just on the pitch of the thing, the front was setting further forward than what it needed to be, so it's setting nice and level now, putting some pressure on that back end, which it wasn't before. So just had to adjust it for this tractor. Every tractor sits a little bit different. This one sits a little bit low, so the drawbar's low, and it was making the front run a little bit tilted. So now that we've got it set level, I'm going to take it back out and play with it some more. Alright, so we're unfolded. We're 25 foot wide. And here's what it's doing to the corn stalks. The problem with my corn head, I love the combine, and the corn head did a phenomenal job getting almost all the corn out of the field. The problem was, to keep my combine full with that 6-row head, it seemed like I really needed to be running 5 or 6 mile an hour. That combine's just got a lot of capacity, and a 6-row head isn't much of a head on a combine like that. And I'd go to an 8-row, which would really be better matched for that combine, but I plant with a 12, just bought the planter, and really don't want to trade it for a 16. So I'll just live with driving fast with the corn head. Well, the problem with that is it leaves the corn stalks really tall. It doesn't give them time to really be shredded when they're going through the corn head. This tool is taking tall, lanky looking corn stalks like that and just turning them into that, where there's still plenty of corn stalks and fodder on top of the ground, which is what I want, because I don't want ground to wash. I want that on top. I don't want to completely bury it, especially on some of this hilly ground. But it's chopping those stalks up like they're confetti and just lightly mixing in some dirt with it, where they're going to rot down, and by spring I'll be able to just plant right into it. So I'm really liking this tool so far. Let's make a couple rounds with it and I'll record it for you guys, and I'll be honest, after that I got my little Bluetooth adapter thing in here, and I'm going to jam to some music and hammer out some acres, because the speeds I'm running, I'm taking about 20-25 acres an hour, so I'm going to jam to some good music and knock out a lot of acres tonight. So there you have it. That's what the stalks look like before. That's what they look like after. Nice and shredded up. You can see how tall they are. Shuck's still on some of them. And then it's just turning it into perfect planting condition. I really like what that rolling basket's doing. We're only rolling about 7 miles an hour just because there's a washout ditch right here, and for the sake of not having a shaky camera. But over in the flatter part of the field, well, not necessarily the flatter part of the field, but just the smoother part of the field where I didn't have a washout ditch to worry about and wasn't worrying about recording, this tractor's handling this thing up to 9 miles an hour just fine. So definitely getting some speed out of it, and it's definitely got the ponies to pull it, so that's good. I was kind of concerned about that, but so far so good. Rolling right along. So without further ado, I'm going to jam to some good playlists and let you guys go. Well, that field's done, and this field's done, so we're going to fold up and guess what? Go to the next field. She's doing a wonderful job. Although I do think I'm going to adjust the drag harrow a little bit on it, or completely take it off, because in some of these corn stalks I kind of think it's wanting to drag them up in piles. And then it'll dump a pile, and the rolling basket will kind of drag for a second. And it's passing them all through, but I don't know, it's not doing it too bad, but kind of like to see it do it a little bit better. But that's really my only complaint with it so far, and that's a pretty easy fix. You can adjust those pretty easy. So on to the next one. It's probably rougher than I'll get out, but I'm cooking right along right now. See the nice tall stalks, the nice work ground. It's a little bit rough out here, but this thing's smoothing it right up. I really like this tool. I did get out and I adjusted on the chains a little bit on the back of the harrow and changed them where they don't drag as much. They're more up and down instead of sideways, I guess. And that made a big difference. It's getting a lot smoother finish now, so I think that was worth doing. You can see the stalks are pretty tall through here. This thing is like running a bush hog through them and then a garden tiller after that. I have not got a single complaint really about this thing, other than operator error, not having it completely set right to start. But now that I've got it set right, I think it's doing a phenomenal job. Other than it's rough out here.